What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are in the shop and we're going to be working on my 89 Jeep Comanche. So a couple of weeks ago, a company called AUXITO reached out to me on Instagram and were like, hey, we really like the content that you're putting out on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. We'd like to do a thing with you about we send you some products and you review them for your YouTube channel. So I was like, sure, why not? The company is AUXITO. They pretty much have basically all your LED needs for pretty much every vehicle. So after scanning their website of all their LED products, these rock lights were the main thing that interested me. So I do already have fog lights. I do already have LED lights in this truck, and I really would like some rock lights up underneath. I will be using them for rock lights. I won't be running them up down the highway like some of the boys that hang out at Cookout with their squatted trucks. You know, these will actually have a purpose other than looking cool in the Walmart parking lot. So what a lot of guys use these for on their Jeeps and their off-road rigs is they use them, they place them strategically throughout the vehicle so that they can actually see what obstacle is coming in contact with their vehicle. All right, so that's enough talking about these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox these, and then we're going to figure out where exactly we want to put these little rock light LEDs up underneath the Comanche. All right, so this is the box from AUXITO, and it's pretty simple. You got your LEDs, got some hardware. That's nice. And these do come with the rubber mounting gaskets. So they do kind of have a curvature right here. So if you're mounting them to who knows, like a roll bar or something like that. So that's pretty neat. Whoops. So the kit does come with 8 lights. It also comes with the 8 mounting pieces and then 16 bolts and nuts. So like I said, one of the first things that you want to do whenever you are putting in these, rock lights underneath your rig is where you actually want to put them. What do you want to light up? These lights are super bright, but you still want the main focus of the LED to be, where you want it. There's actually a spot right here on the unibody of these Cherokees and Comanches. And there's already a massive, probably inch hole that would be perfect for this wire to run through. Now I got you a little closer where you can actually see the hole that I'm talking about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire on the rock light, I'm going to send it up, and then I'm going to take this bolt, I'm going to run it right in the hole that I drilled. Tighten it up just like that, and then I'll get the other one. So I'll send this one through and put the nut on top, and all I have to do is just tighten it up now. What I'm going to do right here and all the way down the whole vehicle. So say if this rock light right here is 5 inches from this corner, I'm going to do it 5 inches from the corner on this side. So that way everything is symmetrical and balanced all the way down. So the best way that I've found to figure out exactly where you want to mount these is what I do is I take the base that I'm going to use. You got the 2 mounting spots right there, and just a paint pen or a paint marker. That way, so I'm going to center this over the hole and just Just run that paint pen up there. So before you drill any holes in your vehicle, just make sure that there's nothing on the other side that you don't want to drill into. So these holes right here, I actually have I'll pull it down just a little bit. This is my power steering cooler line. And so I definitely need to get that out of the way because I do not want to put a hole in that. So I've got it tucked up out of the way. I know exactly where I'm going to drill my holes. Make sure my drill bit doesn't walk. And so one thing that I like to do before I just, go ahead and send a bolt through, is I'm actually going to take I just get some scratch and repair, just touch up paint and paint any raw metal. Because to say if you just send a bolt through there, in a couple of years, that's going to start rusting and you're going to have issues. But maybe this is just an OCD thing, but better be safe than sorry. All right, so now that paint has had just a little bit of time to dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the LED light and then I'm going to take the mounting pad. I'm going to run this wire through the hole. Pull it through and make sure that you put that side going down so that way there's not any type of force on that wire, and see it comes out the back just fine. So then what I'm going to do is just like I did on the other side, I'm going to run this wire up through the hole and then find my bolt, run that through. Grab my nut, get that on the back. There you go. And you see how this one's at an angle right here, just like the driver's side. I'll kind of show you. So it's just at an angle, just like that. So it's lighting up pretty much right there underneath my steering ram, and it'll also be getting this front tire area also. So sometimes whenever you're hooking up these lights, you got to get a little creative. So what's good about these lights right here is on the front is I don't have to worry about anything coming up and hitting them, because if a rock comes up and hits those lights are the least of my worries. So I've got them pretty much tucked up out of the way, but then you get lower down here, and where are you going to mount these without drilling a hole into the floor? So I think I got a solution for that. Let me get y'all under here. So I want these tucked up just as high as I can, because you don't want any low-hanging fruit, especially anything that has power and a ground running to it, because that's just a recipe for disaster there. So what my plan is to make like an L bracket right here, and then have this mounted to these two L brackets with some stealth tappers into my slider here, and that'll keep everything tucked up nice and tall. And then I can actually run my wire above my slider right here to keep it out of harm's way. So I'm gonna make these brackets real quick. So what I'm using to make this bracket is just some aluminum that I got from Lowe's. It was pretty much the cheapest thing I could find. Because I'm cutting about maybe 1/2 inch bracket. These lights aren't heavy at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut, and then we'll drill some holes in it. I got my little brackets, my aluminum brackets made for my rock lights, and they're honestly nothing special. You can see I've got both of my brackets up here. I'm gonna test fit these. The one underneath the driver's side door mounted, and you can see it's tucked up out of the way. It is kind of awkward under here with being on the lift, but kind of tell right here, if it does come close to a rock, that slider is not going to allow it to damage this. And then like I said, my wiring is going to go on top of the slider here, so it'll be fully tucked up out of the way. All right, so I'm going to do the passenger side, and then we'll work on where we want the next one to go. All right, so moving right along, I've got the third one on the driver's side. I'm putting it right in front of the rear tire, facing down, of course. I've got it right here on the lip of this unibody frame on the Comanche. So, you know, it's pointing down. I just put a self-tapper into it, and I'm undecided of where exactly I'm going to put one in the rear. All right, so with this wiring on the rock lights, what I'm going to show you is how I'm going to wire up these front ones right here. So I like to take my time with wiring, and instead of it just being like a boring, you know, 2-hour-long video of me wiring, I'm just going to show you the highlights. So I do have some wires from some old fog lights that I'm going to be using, and then of course I'll be using some more you know, wires to connect all the rock lights together. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these heat shrink waterproof butt connectors. These things are the ticket. I got these at Advance Auto, and I love them. I use them a lot on all my rigs and stuff like that. And these rock lights, the wiring is super simple. I want it to be, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reuse this old wiring harness that is already through the Comanche. And on this wire loom right here, there is a positive and a negative. And what I like to do is I like to pull them apart just a little bit. That way you can kind of get a good grip on everything. Let me cut that off. All right, so we're starting with the positive and the negative. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and strip those wires. So now what I'm going to do is this end right here, I'm actually going to strip it down just a little bit more. This is running to my switch. And I'll go over my switch in a little bit. Oh my God. So these tiny gauge wires, what I like to do is I like to bend them over about like that. And then I'll send this in there. And what you want you to do is crimp just the same as you did on the opposite side, and then crimp in the middle, and there you go. So now what I'll do is I'll heat shrink this, and we'll go on to the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wire that we spliced into this rock light, and I'm going to splice it into this one on the positive side. Alright, so in order for this video not to turn into how to, you know, do wiring and stuff like that, I'm trying to just do the highlights and showing you how I'm wiring it up. So what I've done on all my butt connectors, I have tried to use waterproof ones where I could. I did use heat shrink, and then I'd come back with electrical tape. And so what I'm going to do around all my wires is I'm going to use this this wire loom right here. It's not like the crummy ones that you see like dry rotted. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this wire loom on here. Alright, so now that I have that wire loom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tuck this back up here and make sure that it is not wanting to come down. I'm going to throw some some zip ties up there to keep it all happy, but that is pretty much it on the install. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower it down and start on my switch. Alright, so let me get in. So on the inside of the Jeep, let's see if I can get you a better angle. Here is the switch panel right here. It is key activated, so it doesn't come on until the key is in it. And there's my rock lights. There's my fog lights. And yeah, I don't have electric lockers. I do have the electric hubs, so whenever I press that, the passenger has to get out and go lock my hubs in. So that's really nice. But let's see what these things look like with the lights off. Oh yeah, that is super nice. So it is not all the way dark in my shop. I do have a motion sensor light up there, but so as you can tell, I have the ground illuminated, not the suspension or anything like that, because that's what I wanted. Ooh, paint pen. So now my spotter can tell me like, hey, you're about to slam into a massive rock and break everything on your front axle. This looks really good back here. The whole ground is lit up. Kind of show you what I got. So it's lighting up everything, so that way if I have like an issue or something on the trail, you know, I don't have to sit there and hold a flashlight with my mouth. I can, you know, turn my rock lights on and fix what I got to fix and keep on going. I am very, very pleased with how bright this is underneath the Comanche. You can see the whole front axle and the ground in front of my tires and everything like that is illuminated. So I'm very well pleased. This is exactly how I wanted it to turn out. So now if I have an issue on the trail, you know, a broken U-joint, you know, something loose, I don't even have to have a flashlight. I can just work on my Jeep just with the rock lights that I installed. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. I really appreciate y'all watching me install the AUXITO rock lights underneath my '89 Jeep Comanche build. The lights were fairly simple to put in. It was really just some basic wiring, and then, you know, the switch panel and everything I already had installed. So I took my time with it and it was well worth it, definitely. I cannot wait to get this thing out on the trail to see how these lights look at nighttime. So, but anyway guys, I really appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.